I had to do it. I had to do the Knuckles bit for this. Anyways, welcome back to more Totinos, whatever this is. You can just call me Stead. Let me just bring the sound back up. Yeah, so I figured in a similar vein to the Angel Island Revisited playthrough that I'd just do a Knuckles playthrough. This time hopefully without any technical difficulties, because I feel that's sort of been plaguing my streams a little bit, admittedly. Hopefully this will be the back end of that. In any case, yes, Sonic Mania launched with an and Knuckles mode, which basically just has Knuckles in place of Tails, except of course you could potentially just have Sonic and Knuckles, Tails and Knuckles, Mighty and Ray and Knuckles when Mania Plus came out, but for this time around, of course we're going with Knuckles and Knuckles. Almost believed it was the Triple Q version. No, even I wouldn't do that. I know my audience, I think. Hopefully this works. Ah, good old Angel Island. Back in more innocent times. Kinda weird that Knuckles was just hanging by this tree instead of the Master Emerald Shrine, but I guess whatever gets us into the story. It didn't work. Hold up. Hold up, hold up. Just want to double check I actually got this right. Rid of this. Yeah, our Knuckles mode is on. Let's try that again, Penfold. Yep, and now there's just another Knuckles just standing there for no reason. I do appreciate at the very least they just kept the, this little laughing animation from Sonic Free there. The game is full of those little details, but yes, here we are finally, after that false start. Knuckles to Knuckles. As one more successful YouTuber put it at one point, one's a Beatnik, one's a Rastafarian. Very got that out of the way. Let's get on with the show. Already off to a good start. And yeah, weirdly enough, I feel this is like the, one of the few levels which actually takes advantage of the fact that Knuckles used to have different level layouts compared to Sonic. Because from what I've noticed, you don't seem to get that same level of uniqueness with the levels with Knuckles as compared to Sonic Free, which I kind of get that it's not as big of a focus, it just feels like a bit of a missed opportunity on my book. I mean, there's some Knuckles exclusive areas, but it doesn't feel as expanded upon compared to Sonic Free, if that makes sense. I was expecting the normal OST. Oh, no, you fool. This is not Sonic Mania as you know it. This is Totinos Mania. This meme-ridden nightmare psychedelic trip of a Sonic playthrough, which, weirdly enough, just I kind of expected it to be a little bit more cursed. I mean, obviously there's a fair bit of the music soundtrack here which are quite cursed, but I was expecting it to be a fair bit worse. Maybe I just my expectations for cursed video game mods have just been altered irreparably by Cursed Halo. Everybody's favorite game about Mario Kart. A little bit of a disappointment that the Knuckles portion of the level just sort of stops a little abruptly there, but then of course we wouldn't be able to have Knuckles in Sonic 1, which I almost feel in hindsight was a little bit of a shame that we didn't get Knuckles in Sonic 1, instead just got the full expansion of Blue Sphere. I mean, suppose it's pick your poison in that case. Do you either want the full fat version of the special stages, or Knuckles just breaking Sonic 1 in half? How's day? It's been better. It's been better than a lot of my week has currently been. Feel well and truly on the mend, just getting used to this this new diet. That being said, going on a diet and then playing this ROM hack about pizza rolls, probably not the best combination, admittedly. Oh. That was arguably the easiest special stage so far. New diet of Nah. I'm trying to lose weight, not gain it. You want this? Yes, the stuffed nachos. We gotta get them to become zesty. To become the zestiest Echidna on whatever island we're on. We're like on 4 islands at once. It's weird. Unless you want to go by Forces Dimetric, in which Knuckles and Sonic and the gang are just hallucinating in a field somewhere. And none of this is real. Thanks a bunch, Forces. Yeah, I kind of feel that's a small plot detail with regards to Forces which people tend to overlook. The fact that the Phantom Ruby is retcon question mark to be a virtual / augmented reality thing where it warps your perception of reality rather than just warping reality itself, meaning technically speaking we're not actually in Green Hill. Or any of the levels we're gonna visit. In fact, it's debatable as to whether any of this is even happening. That also sort of reminds me now that Knuckles is the second player here. That sort of means that Knuckles is now sharing in Tails' implied immortality. Now I feel it's sort of become a recurring joke with me, just the fact that given the nature of how Tails just flies in from off screen every time he dies, that he's technically immortal. And I've sort of been wondering how exactly that works, as to whether it's something akin to him actually being a kitsune, the fact that he's very long-lived, and then I just figured that it'd be, given the, I suppose, morbid nature of how another Tails just sort of appears off screen, that it's similar, in fact, to, I'm not entirely certain if any of you have seen Madoka Magica, but if you know, it's similar to Kyubey. I'll just leave it there. I'm not sure I want to give spoilers for what is effectively a 10-plus-year-old anime. Here I am just talking about anime as the music is screaming in the background. I almost want to say this is the most cursed thing about this whole playthrough, but I'm starting to wonder if that, in fact, the title of most cursed thing in this stream still goes to me. Maybe I'm just overthinking it as usual. Come on, we gotta get out of here. We gotta get out of here before we lose subscriber. Real YTVMV music going on here? I mean, that's basically what it is. Like, the music video for this particular, that particular track is basically a parody music video of the Logan Paul track that's based off of. I was thinking, actually, I think that it's technically possible for Knuckles to get all the emeralds before Sonic, considering he gets that extra special ring at the start. Maybe I constantly just keep missing one. Maybe I'm in the wrong, who knows. Oh, I forgot we actually do get a unique Knuckles segment where you just fly back and forth like this. The most demanding in terms of skill segments. Knuckles is broken. I mean, depends on your definition of broken. I mean, this doesn't feel like it's supposed to be intentional, but it's just rocking the D-pad back and forth. I don't think you could do this in Sonic 3. It's been a little bit. And you eventually will turn into a Totino. That just sort of reminds me of that one Sesame Street episode where Cookie Monster turns into a cookie. At least I think that's how it goes. Like, you eat too many cookies, you yourself will become the cookie. And then his character was ruined forever when he was all about promoting healthy eating, which... A character called Cookie Monster isn't allowed to have cookies. Just... let that sink in. The underground cabins in Green Hill were introduced in... I think they were introduced in Generations. Could be another Deep Cut reference, which I'm forgetting, but I'm sure will be enlightened to me in the future. Possibly, now that I'm thinking about it, the second act of Game Gear Green Hill. That sort of comes to mind. I've literally outrun the UFO. What have I done? I was too fast. Quick, quick, go back, go back. He's got to be around here somewhere. Where did it go? I'm lost and confused. Want to play Sonic Galactic? I've actually tried out Sonic Galactic off stream, actually. It does look quite promising. I feel that's sort of one of those things, though, where I kind of want to wait until it's a bit more developed before doing it on stream. I have no idea what happened there. Hopefully, let's do our best not to replicate that next time we have to go through that particular, I think we have to go up here. There we go. I know, using Knuckles and Tails sort of feels like cheating in these particular segments. It's like, oh, what's that? You want to get to a particular part of the map? No problem. Just keep going in this one specific direction. Alright, take two. What happened? I think I outran the UFO. Let's try not to replicate that and actually get it this time. And hopefully just leave it at that. We end up only listening to highly cursed Totinos, Logan Paul / Jake Paul for as little time as possible. Let's do this. I think this might be one of my favorite looking of the special stage. I mean, I probably would say that for all of them. Just this one feels so distinct to me with the hollowed out planet. Just I really do sort of miss the sort of stylization in the Sonic series. It's like with the weird sort of Roman architecture pillars here, just really gives a sort of sense of vaporwave, if that makes sense. Alright, let's do this. Gotcha this time. Full Totinos and speed is a bad idea. Yes! So we're basically at where we would be with Sonic if we nailed all of them right off the bat. Alright, time to fight the Death Egg Robo again. Just remember, this time we don't have to worry about Egg Reverie, so this will no doubt be shorter. I am sort of wondering as to whether or not I'd want to do multiple Mania mod showcases. Like, I'm fairly certain I also have the Hatsune Miku Mania mod. which is a fairly oldie, but I like... I think I already mentioned that as well, What's Wrong With Me. I like the music in that one, which is why it just sort of immediately came to mind. It's like actual remixes which aren't 100% cursed. It's kind of annoying is that... yeah, I feel it would be quite cool if you... just straight up mirrored. But yeah, I feel it would be kind of cool if you could ride on Knuckles as he glides, like you could in Advance Free if you have the Knuckles mode enabled, but... I suppose that's not really indicative of the classics, is it? Ah yes, here we are, just... Knuckles seeming weirdly aggressive as usual. I will admit, throughout all the various bits of Sonic discourse I've been privy to, I haven't necessarily heard all that much about Knuckles. I mean, then again, Flynn has gone on record of saying that he really likes Knuckles, so I guess that's not really a surprise, him playing favorites.
It's every day, bro, with the crispy pizza rolls. Totinos in my mouth. Never done before. Past all the competition, man. Tony Pizza's next, man.
I hate this. It's revolting. I think I already went into detail, but... oh, look at that. That upside down period really just sort of reminds me of that one angel from Evangelion. The D8, as I like to call it. I may as well just... it's kind of a shame that you don't carry over your progress, but I'll take it. Well, this sort of gives me the sense that I've been missing out on blue spheres in that particular route. As far as I'm aware, this is probably one of the easier ones. I say as I just immediately run into bombs. I generally feel this is one of the less stressful ones. I mean, I say that, but I really do feel I need to brush up on the Mania Plus special stages, because I haven't really done much to practice them in a fair bit, and I remember them being a lot harder. I'm about to run out of rings. No. Dagnammit. No idea what happened there. I just sort of lost control of the thing. I'm just thinking it would be kind of embarrassing if I made it to the end of the game and didn't actually get all the emeralds. I have been thinking a little bit today, actually, just... I can't help but feel that, in my mind at least, this might be the last actual Sonic game, if that makes any sense. I'll elaborate. I feel especially in more recent times with the Sonic games, basically ever since the movie, that... obviously with the whole brand synergy thing, I can't help but feel that the Sonic games are being seen less as games, if that makes sense. I'd almost want to say this is the last sort of proper Sonic game, and everything else that came after it is more so just Sonic product. Where everything, I suppose the main thing that really sort of leads me to think about this is just with the more shallow nature of the stories, I can't help but feel that more of the recent Sonic installments, starting with Frontiers, have felt less sort of just memorable stories that stick with you, and more sort of disposable. Like, I got the sense that with pretty much all the games up to Generations, actually, that the games at the very least had something they wanted to say with the stories and the gameplay, and I'm not sure if it's just because of EN, but I'm not really getting that with the more recent games. I mean, obviously, Frontiers and Shadowgen have been more focused on re-establishing the characters, but I feel there could have been a more productive way of doing so that still delivered on giving us a quality story which actually had something to say. I think I've heard many people say this about Frontiers, with it being a $60 apology letter, essentially. More people would have preferred if, instead of just getting in front of the camera and apologizing, you just acted on the changes you wanted to make. Because, to me, it's started with the packaged baby Sonic in Colors Ultimate. Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Alright, let's see if we can struggle our way up here. Thankfully, I'm playing as Knuckles, so this hopefully shouldn't be as big of an issue, I say, as I get potentially crushed. May end up cutting it close here a little bit, because, well, it's definitely ambitious to do this. I am very much liable to get crushed. Oh no, we got Totinos overload. Get out. Thanks for the tip on the microphone, better than expected. I'm glad it worked out. Just, again, I wouldn't have expected so much praise for this microphone I just got off of Amazon, like, back in 2022. I have this thing for like nearly 3 years now, that's wild. Frontiers is gonna be 3 years old in a couple of months. And by all metrics, it's mostly sort of been forgot about, instead of just... With the exception of mod showcases, I feel is the main thing. I don't know, I haven't really heard all that much discussion about Frontiers recently. Everybody's been busy talking about the Unleashed recompiled, which... Again, Unleashed is one of those games with stories that I feel sort of sticks with people, which I suppose is part of the reason why everybody was scrambling to just see it released on PC or just get an HD re-release, because that sort of had something to say about it, I feel. Like, everybody... Metals versus Metals? Yeah. With all the callbacks to classic Sonic games, I'm kind of surprised we didn't get a Mecha Sonic inclusion, to be honest, though I can't help but feel they may have been asking for too much. It's like getting free levels from the best of the classic Sonic games up until this one. May have been a little bit too much to ask. Because I think I already mentioned this, but I feel, at least from a content standpoint, I feel at the very least with Mania you are getting theoretically more bang for your buck, not adjusted for inflation, because again, Mania, including Mania Plus, was still significantly cheaper than having to buy 2 games for free in Knuckles. Dagnammit. There we go. At least I think we're supposed to go this way. Again, I kind of feel that I'm not 100% familiar with all the giant rings in Chemical Plant, because normally I wouldn't need to. Mania is Mania is Mania is Mania. still pretty good in its own right. Just, I will admit, I'm sort of missing, the Blue Sphere special stages. Just... maybe just being nostalgic for Blue Sphere. I kind of forgot this one was here. Also forgot to include the speed-up music. Just... only the most professional on this channel. Alright, I think we're supposed to be going this way. And we actually get another Knuckles exclusive route, which is, for a change. Who knows, maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised, as admittedly it has been a while since I played as Knuckles through Mania. Mostly I just sort of stick to Sonic and Tails, or Sonic. You know the drill. I think I already mentioned this, but I have been wondering for a while about my Knuckles voice that I tend to put on for more story-driven stuff. Because originally I was thinking of trying to do a Ninja Silver voice, but I don't know, I kind of think I prefer doing the Dan Green voice. What do you think? More of a presence in the story in 3K rather than being an obstacle? Yeah, that would have been nice. Also, kind of wild to think that somehow Knuckles knows how to play good old Mean Bean Machine. Let's just put that one there. Admittedly not doing so hot this time around, but still fairly confident I can make this work. There we go. I actually pulled off a combo. Who would have thunk it? Yeah, let's put that one there. Could definitely use some blue ones, admittedly, but we'll put that one there, I think. Totally mind-bending action going on here. I'm just thinking, don't ask me to play Mean Bean Machine anytime soon. I'm going to suffer. I do definitely love the music, though. Still think the music's pretty great. Mecha Sonic is depends which Sonic 4 you're talking about. There's this, there's Sonic Adventure, there's Sonic Advance, there's, the two we don't talk about. Tetris is good. I mean, yeah, many people would consider it the best video game of all time. I'd be sort of inclined to agree. Just, generally speaking, there's, practically zero flaws you could really point out within Tetris. It's a very simple game that sets out to do what it does objectively flawlessly. Alright, finally, another Chaos Emerald. I'm hoping at the very least we'll be able to get the last one here, but I kind of have my doubts, because this one is arguably the hardest one of the original bunch. So bear with me. I just realized this one is just filled with mushrooms. And this was released before the movie as well. It's just, yeah, just funny looking mushrooms special stage. And all of a sudden you got people coming in from the movie looking at this and like, oh, no way. Actual mushroom planet place. I do gotta wonder, actually, what was the inspiration for the mushroom planet? Because in movie 2, at the very least, with the credits, they got the more sort of, something reminiscent of Mushroom Hill. Even though that Mushroom Hill wasn't a planet. Was it actually supposed to be a dig at Morrow? I don't know. Alright, here we go. Let's try not to fall off. Pardon me, just concentrating. I don't want to flub up like I did last time. Gotcha. This, yes. Again, probably the most cursed thing in this mod. Yeah, I've heard people just say it's a reference to the Mushroom Kingdom, which I suppose makes sense, or at the very least it's kind of funny considering here you have the Sonic movie making this sort of very slight jab at the Mario series, only for the Mario movie to come along and just completely dwarf its box office returns and becoming the highest grossing video game movie of all time. Purely on name alone, I think, because I haven't really heard all that much good stuff about the Mario movie as a movie. In the sense that it's, from what I've heard, it's less of a movie and more just sort of a one big advertisement, which I'm not sure how accurate that particular observation is. Alright, I guess we'd have to go this way. Alright, we end up at this particular special ring anyway. Everything worked out in the end. We're gonna get zesty. Luigi movie is real. Well, I'm not exactly privy to any news regarding any future Mario movies, so at this point, sort of anything is possible. It is going to be interesting to figure out what, in years to come, which is arguably the more cursed of movie casting / adaptations. Chris Pratt as Mario or Jack Black as Steve Minecraft Steve. As you can tell, I'm sort of not the biggest fan of Minecraft. Just as a game itself, I didn't really have any issues with it, just the more sort of content farming nature of it has just sort of lended a more negative lens to me over the years. There we go, got off the stuffed nachos. And now we can become Zesty Knuckles. Or, going by Superstar's logic, we now have Zesty powers. I never got that change in Superstars. Just the fact that absolutely no one except Sonic can be super. They even erased Super Shadow from Shadow Generations. I sort of had to remind myself of that that particular fact. The fact that there is no Super Shadow in Shadow Generations, and it really sort of feels like the only character who's allowed to have a super form at this point is Sonic, unless you're in the comics. In which case, I don't know, give one to the Pizza Hut guy everybody seems to like. Which do I prefer, Terraria or Minecraft? Personally, Terraria. I generally just sort of prefer the more, the fact that in Terraria you more have a particular actual goal you're working towards, whereas as opposed to the more sandboxy aspect of Minecraft, where I don't think anybody particularly cares about doing the main sort of scenario of Minecraft, in quotations, of killing the Ender Dragon outside of speedrunning. Like, nobody seems to care about the Ender Dragon anymore. It's more just all sorts of sandbox stuff and making your own fun, which I suppose I can sort of respect in a in one particular sense of the word, but I don't know. Minecraft was never exactly something I was overly fond on. similar thing to Power World, actually, where I kind of felt it was more designed to be played with friends. And even then, one thing I really never liked about Minecraft was the creepers. It's like, oh hey, you built up this nice little house, and your back is turned all of a sudden, and this creature just suddenly shows up spawns behind you, and blows up all your hard-earned work. It seemed more annoying to me than anything else. I mean, obviously there's lots of dangerous stuff in Terraria as well, but I feel at the very least it gives you more opportunity to prepare. If that makes sense, with warning you about some particular raids and such like the Blood Moon, or particular bosses, or being forewarned about going into more hazardous areas like the desert with all its ant lions, or the Crimson/Corruption. Sonic Mania is part of the well, I guess it is now, except possibly not really, considering what Forces said about how the Phantom Ruby works, where apparently, according to Forces, Knuckles and Knuckles here are just hallucinating in a field together somewhere. For all we know, Mighty and Ray are just straight up hallucinations. It's kind of ironic, because I feel this is sort of the less, the one game that's the least concerned about lore, and more just sort of concerned about, alright, I'll just giving you a whole bunch of fun levels to play through. It's sort of like Mega Mix in a way. Except I'm not certain as to whether Mega Mix has more autopilot-y segments in its level design like this. You think they'll always get Chris Pratt to hire the guy in Terraria? It would be funny if that happened, though. I'm kind of curious as to whether there's any particular particular casting that would be more cursed than Chris Pratt, because we already have Jack Black as Minecraft Steve, so who knows? Maybe Ryan Reynolds. I don't know, just spitballing. As I go through what is arguably one of the more autopilot-y levels I've ever been through, just all I'm doing is holding down on the D-pad and look at me go. You know, Robotnik is rapping. I mean, I'm pretty sure he also did so back in CD, so it's not exactly a new phenomena. Oh, I just realized we actually have to fight the boss properly now because Knuckles' jump height is lower. Let's see, is he gonna come lower? Or am I just gonna have to stand here and deal with all your thunderclouds? That does particularly remind me of a funny instance in this Friday's Pathfinder session where we got jumped by a group of ogres. And yes, during our weekly recaps I did do a Shrek joke. And one of them apparently was some kind of mage or druid because it summoned this storm cloud over me and just trying to pepper me with a whole bunch of lightning bolts. And at that point, despite me being in full plate, with the amount of health I had and the little damage it was doing was more so, oh, that's mildly annoying. Looking at Xbox Sword and Sonic the Fighters separately is now. Oh no. I should have bought Sonic the Fighters when I had the chance, even though I'm pretty sure buying it on the 360 wouldn't exactly have been the best call. It's kind of a shame that we never did get a Steam port of Sonic the Fighters, though. I suppose they're getting ready to resell it if their typical habits of delisting Sonic games is anything to go by. We've seen this all before. Just wondering as to whether it'll be bundled with anything else, maybe like Sonic R. Just imagining potential of actual Sonic R with online multiplayer. That might be nice, just saying. Then again, probably have its fair share of cheaters as well. I'm also probably thinking of that unofficial Roblox remake of Sonic R, featuring the Chaotix. I couldn't help but think, you know, that really does sound cool, but I don't really want to get involved in Roblox. Like Mario Kart Online? Yeah, basically. And then again, I'm not entirely certain they want that eating into Crossworlds, which does at the very least look fairly interesting. I think I already mentioned this, the fact that someone on the Crossworlds team really seemed to like secret rings. With the callbacks to levels like Dinosaur Jungle and Pirate Storm. I'm just like, I haven't seen these places since 2007. Are you really just... How deep are you gonna delve into this particular content mine for... The only way to get Sonic films now is from the Legacy... Ah, gotcha. Does that also include the original Steam port, The Generations, out of curiosity? May just be me, but I can't help but feel, in hindsight, the Generations situation in particular is kind of scummy, because especially with the script rewrite, it really just feels to me like they're rewriting history, and I'm not entirely fond of that particular notion. To the point where I'm kind of nervous about any re-releases of past Sonic games, because you just know that they're gonna get Flynn in to rewrite the script, or just dolly it up a little bit. I know some people might be okay with it, but I'm more the generally been more of the mind of, imagine if they did that to the plot of a Sonic game you did like Adventure 2 or Unleashed or Adventure 1. Just the principle never sat right with me is all. You feel better of noise? I sort of feel my snuffle clearing up a little bit. Doesn't feel as bad as yesterday at the very least. Includes Adventure 1 and 2, OG Generations, okay. Which, I suppose, to be fair, aside from Sonic 4, is arguably all you really need for the Sonic series. At least, that's my given, but... I mean, I say that, but I've been thinking about it a fair bit with regards to, in comparison to the Halo series, where there's most people who just stick to the original 5 Bungie titles and maybe Halo Wars, which I'm not 100% sure if that's on Steam, I'll have to check. But at the same time, I kind of feel between 6 games and 6 books, there is the desire for something fresh, and I do definitely feel that, especially with Adventure 2, which I really feel as though I've combed over that game in my time a fair bit. Just clamoring for a desire for something like it, but fresh, something new, which is something I've sort of been waiting on for the past 20 years. Still waiting. Anyways, back to Flying Battery. I think I already mentioned this, that I do like the fact that they just took the opportunity to remix in Wing Fortress here. I mean, it's not a particularly original concept, but it fits Flying Battery. We need Sonic 4, we can play Adventure and... Exactly. You can just sort of pretend that, in terms of... that story-wise, pretty much everything past generations didn't happen. At least that's how I've been going about it for the longest time. Up until a point where I sort of feel that Sonic Team can sort of convince me that any of the new games are worth considering going back to afterwards, because I don't exactly feel a strong compulsion to go back to something like Frontiers or Shadow Generations. I mean, there were... Shad Gen in particular was fun, but I think I already said this before. Disposable. You just get the sense that once is enough. Which is... I feel is kind of a cardinal sin for a Sonic game, given one of its core tenets is replayability. I think me and a fair few others, admittedly, have been sort of wondering as to whether that's related to the open zone level of open zone designer gameplay, where sure, it's more open, you got more places to explore, but I guess the prospect of exploring all those areas more than once within a short span of time is sort of a bit more taxing compared to the games of old. I don't know, I've just been musing. I've been musing about this topic for a fair bit. Wasn't Mania fan-made originally? Technically, no. I think it is, it's more so made by, well-respected and talented fans of the Sonic games. Mainly, Stealth and Taxman, who... The Mad Lads actually ported a proper working good version of Sonic 1 to the Game Boy Advance, so you could actually play a good version of Sonic 1 instead of Sonic Genesis. And then of course we also worked on the mobile phone ports of Sonic 1 and 2. Same thing could be said about Bowser's Fury. I did hear good stuff about Bowser's Fury, but given the nature of that game, I could potentially see it being one of those games that you don't really go back to. Not exactly something that you consider being overly replayable. Honestly, I'd say the same story could go for Breath of the Wild as well, because with how open that game is, just going through that entire massive world more than once definitely does seem like more of a commitment. And I sort of can't help but wonder as to whether Breath of the Wild inadvertently ruins replayability in video games. With everybody wanting to be the next Breath of the Wild, whether it be Sonic or Halo or the myriad of different Microsoft Genshin, that immediately comes to mind. I don't know who in the right mind. I don't think Genshin is particularly one of those games that you necessarily replay, to be perfectly honest. Given its more live servicey quest-based structure. Generally speaking, I can't really see anybody just straight up replaying Genshin Impact. Then again, I'm not entirely privy as to how systems in that game work, so could be wrong. Feel free to enlighten me if I'm wrong. Oh yeah, look at that. Perfectly choreographed. What game am I replaying? I mean, in my spare time, I tend to just go and at the moment at the very least, just been going back to the old Halo games, namely Combat Evolved, Halo 3, a little bit of Halo 2, just... I sort of feel a similar way to how I do about Super Smash Bros. Melee with regards to Halo 2, where I have a lot of fond memories of it, but given the more, I suppose, demanding skill floor slash ceiling that Halo 2 and Melee demand due to particular competitive heavy game mechanics based on abusing glitches and whatnot, different button combinations. Sort of the sort of thing that's dissuaded me from playing Halo 2 for the longest time, because it seemed a bit more competitively demanding compared to a more casual just romp through Combat Evolved with its more simplistic button combinations, or just Halo 3 with its more... Just trying to think of the good word, just fix? Nah. Less jank, let's put it, with how less jank Halo 3 is, let's just put it that way. Again, I really can't help but feel going through this that this is just going through launch base again. Again, I'm pretty sure I already mentioned this. I'm not 100% certain I'd want to go through the Halo games, which is kind of a shame, because I feel it would definitely be a opportune time to talk about my experiences with the books, because so far I've definitely been having a good time with the books. I'm pretty much at the very end of the last one, Cold Protocol, at the moment, and I think until I think of what book series I want to go through next, I'm probably just gonna go back through the Fall of Reach. Oh, Sonic the Fighters is still on the PS3, so thankful. Well, that's a relief. Though I imagine this is gonna deal crippling blows to the Sonic the Fighters competitive community, because I know that exists, using, as far as I'm aware, a modified version of the PS3 Xbox 360 version, as far as I'm aware. At least as far as I'm aware. It does seem pretty fun at the very least, though. I have heard that certain characters in Sonic the Fighters are definitely better than others, with Knuckles effectively becoming the Fox of that game. More about experience with Halo, finishing the match. So, of course, we got a funny Knuckles moonwalk there. With regards to my experiences with Halo, my first proper exposure to Halo was the believed diorama trailer, the famous one with the diorama with all the highly detailed figures of all the Marines and the Brutes fighting, and then you just see the Chieftain holding up Chief, and he's got the plasma grenade, and it's just one of those particular trailers that just sticks with you, and it's like, wow. It really feels like something special, which Halo 3 definitely was, but I suppose getting accustomed to some of the more popular games at my secondary / boarding school, my first experience with Halo was actually Halo 2. Just trying to get used to the controls and such with various co-op multiplayer. I didn't particularly get very far. I think the furthest I got was, at least at that time, was the, I'm struggling to remember what numbered level it was. It was the Oracle, the one where the Flood first show up, which definitely freaked me out. Remember when Sonic appeared in OKK? Oh yeah, and that whole thing was basically just one big OVA reference. I remember quite clearly. And then OKKO basically just got pulled from Cartoon Network, so it's probably not considered readily accessible anymore. Yeah, I feel it's one of those things where not exactly being privy to the more competitive jank nature of Halo 2, it was definitely a more fun/accessible start to first-person shooters, because obviously back then I wasn't exactly all that experienced with FPSs, and I kind of feel that the more slow pace of the Halo games was generally made it a more accessible first start, as opposed to the more fast-paced, fast-kill sort of gameplay of, say, Modern Warfare 2, which everybody at my secondary school was obsessed with. It was that particular time where everybody was obsessed with Modern Warfare 2 and then later Black Ops, which I'm sure they're good. I'm sure they're good games in their own right. Just I wasn't particularly fond of a lot of people at that boarding school, and as such, I tended to just associate Call of Duty with those sorts of people and didn't want to be associated with it in any way, shape, or form, which probably means I missed out on a fair bunch, but at the same time, seeing the direction Call of Duty's been going in more recent times, just can't help but think, what must those sort of people think of Call of Duty now? The only reason OKKO was remembered by people. Yeah, I definitely haven't really heard all that much about it. Just, I haven't really heard much about, more recent additions to Cartoon Network, in all honesty. Then again, I don't really tend to pay much, attention to it. Then again, at this point, Cartoon Network's a thing of the past, which I did definitely find heartbreaking when the news dropped, because I was really a big fan of Cartoon Network in the early 2000s with, you know, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Ed, Edd and Eddy, Johnny Bravo, Powerpuff Girls, just all the good stuff. And then we had to change our TV provider, so we didn't get Cartoon Network anymore, and let's just say it was bitter about that for many, many years to come, because we hardly got anything good on the new provider. Meaning all that wasn't really on whenever the TV was on, mostly thanks to my baby sister, was just CBeebies. And I wasn't exactly the most happy about that. It's like I could have been watching, you know, Johnny Bravo, or seeing the turn Cartoon Network would take in the late 2000s, where it decided it didn't want to show cartoons anymore. It's like hearing about that, just seeing all this live action stuff on Cartoon Network, I couldn't help but think, what are they doing? I'm sure a fair bit of it was entertaining, but this is Cartoon Network. It should be self-explanatory in the title. What's Destroy Build Destroy doing on here? I'm sure it's entertaining in that it's just scrap heap challenges directed by Michael Bay, but it's not a cartoon. What do I think of Undertale? I definitely enjoyed the game when I enjoyed Undertale when I played it back in the day. I think it's one of those situations where meme culture and fandom culture just irrevocably warped this thing which I enjoyed in a vacuum into something which I and a fair few other people have grown to avoid. At least that's how it was in the late 2000s. Nowadays, I kind of feel that's all settled down for the most part, and you'd sort of get back to, oh, you know, Undertale actually was a good game, as opposed to just having to deal with the rabid fandom. With all the influx of different AUs and such. I mean, I'm probably one to talk when it comes to AUs, but it seems so prevalent back in the Undertale days. It's starting to see new generations may never experience these classic cartoons. Oh, definitely. Do stuff like Adventure Time, regular show, Steven Universe. Or, you know, just filling up the entire slot with Teen Titans Go. I know that's some particular picture of the lineup on one particular occasion was taken notably out of context, but I think it was still a good indication of just the what the network really prioritized, if that makes sense, because what's that? People want to see Sonic Boom, Steven Universe, Adventure Time, Owl House, all these shows that people seem to like? Nope. Watch the slop. Watch your new favorite show. And honestly, when it comes to Teen Titans Go, I just can't help but sympathize with the original Teen Titans fandom immensely, given that Teen Titans Go, to me, is just basically just to Teen Titans what Sonic Boom was to Sonic. Just this absolute parody of itself. Which in a way sort of tarnished the legacy of the original in a way. Where everybody was just wanting to clamor for the original thing, and instead the creators just sort of rubbed their face in the new thing and just told them to like it. Or maybe it's just Titans Go and Sonic Boom I feel have a very similar brand of humor, which I kind of hate. That being self-deprecating millennial humor. When he said Owl House, I kind of forgot. I don't know, I just been constantly hearing about it from various other servers, and maybe I'm thinking Loud House. Again, it's been a while since I've been on Cartoon Network. My experience with Cartoon Network was the late 2000s, so... early 2000s, sorry, so... forgive me if I get them mixed up. Could be Owl House, could be Loud House, who knows. I just know people liked one of them. Those room has a lot of potential to surpass Undertale how long the game will be less popular in the long... Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think this is one of my favorite tracks throughout this whole meme hell. I think I already mentioned, it's like, hey, it sampled every single one of the Metal Sonic tracks. You got What I'm Made Of in here, you got Look-alike, you got the Sonic 4 theme, it's all here. What do you think of the Dreamcast? I wish I had a Dreamcast. I've only really played on Dreamcast a couple of times, and that was playing Sonic Adventure. On I would say a friend's Dreamcast, but I didn't really have any friends at boarding school. Just somebody else's Dreamcast who just happened to be there, and it was Sonic Adventure. It was pretty much what I was used to from playing it on the GameCube. I mean, the main thing I really know about the Dreamcast was just how loud the disc whirring was. Especially with something like Sonic Shuffle. Again, this cheeky little so-and-so. Can't even destroy him. Hated Owl House because it was... Okay, everybody hated Owl House. Gotcha. I was probably thinking Loud House. I just kept hearing Owl House, Owl House, Owl House, and just... That was the one that came to mind. Ah, yes, good old Hydrokite. Unfortunately, Knuckles still isn't able to swim here, so... Guess we'll just have to make do. Can I actually get up here? Because I remember in the Sonic 3 version there was a upper route up here. And here we see the other Knuckles just perpetually falling. There he goes. There we go. Nope, I guess we're just gonna have to go down here. Just take the boring normal route, which everybody takes on their first playthrough. Okay, we end up here this time. I don't know, just the Miku Mania version of this song is one of those ones that really sort of gets stuck in my head. I mean, I know a lot of people tend to not really like Steven Universe. For the longest time I was around people who mostly liked it because, let's just say they very much liked the designs of the gems. I'll, leave it to you to, come to the conclusion on that. Come on, I was ducking. Forgot how the old... how rough the old Metal Sonic fight... Yeah! I definitely remember it too. Okay, I think they got rid of the donkey Easter egg, unfortunately. I wanted to try doing it, but I, guess it wasn't gonna work. I'm trying to think of other Sonic levels which have these sorts of boats in it, but I can't really think of any. It's like, hey, we actually have an original concept for once. Wow. Good work, Mania. Yeah, I kind of screwed myself there. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna work. Kind of a shame, really, because I definitely do miss that donkey Easter egg, and I'm not entirely certain as to why they got rid of it. You know, it's just the funny thing where you didn't necessarily have to know it was Donkey that did it. Come on. Let me have that one, please. Also, one little thing that I definitely appreciate the mods supplying is the ability to cancel your super in cases like this, where you're not really taking damage, and all you're necessarily doing is, when struggling to platform, is wasting rings. It's like, I'm not entirely in danger, but at the same time, I can't exactly go into super anymore, so... Actually, sort of reminds me... Dagnammit. I was gonna say, I don't think I've actually been inside the pinball game yet. May also take a little bit of time out to do some pinball. I have also heard good things about Celeste as well, just, I know for a fact that it's for a particular audience, and I'm not entirely certain if I'm it. Sort of fits into the classic stereotype of indie game, which is sprite-based indie game, which is an allegory for mental illness. I've heard that being thrown around a fair bit, and as far as I'm aware, Celeste is a poster child of that. Could be wrong. Feel free to correct me on that. I didn't realize that we'd already gone to the end of the level already. Alright, pinball time. And here, of course... You Yes, we can't escape Totinos even here. Nor the fact that the rings here have been replaced with more pizza rolls. I've seen this one scene in the universe where the fusion turned into Tails and the rest of the intro was Steven running like Sonic through green hell. That just seems strangely bizarre. Then again, I remember all the memes about the fact that Steven was secretly Sans. I remember those sorts of theories where Sans was either Ness or Steven or just some just an Earthbound fan who'd never played Earthbound. You know, that old meme. Okay, I got all the rings I need, but I don't necessarily need to use Super Form for this boss fight, so I'm not going to. It's good. It is kind of funny just how gruesome this is in a weird way. Just this old man getting pulled up into the propellers like it's like Raiders of the Lost Ark. That ended surprisingly quickly. Do you like the hamburgers or chicken? Honestly, at this point, I could go for both. Not gonna lie, but will you be doing Encore mode after Knuckles and no. This is just gonna be a short thing, because I'm not quite as experienced with Encore mode as I am with the main mode, and I would need to practice all the special stages. I just figured that next week we were just gonna start on Sonic Chronicles, because I'm not gonna lie, I've been looking forward to that one. And we get to... And I feel that would be a more prudent time to talk about a particular subject which I've heard at least a couple of times. That being as to whether or not combat actually belongs in Sonic. Which... I'm just gonna say, for the more conventional style of games like this one, or the adventure games, or something like Generations, I would personally say no. I think something a bit more stylized on the veins of Doom Blast from Shadgen is probably the best it would probably get without it being overly intrusive like it is in Frontiers. You see the universe Valentine security see Joey Kid doing Sokno Jutsu with the big G villain gem woman. I mean, the most I really hear people talk about Steven Universe anymore is just in comparison to IDW Sonic, considering IDW Sonic is also a big proprietor of Talk no Jutsu, which, of course, Sonic never really was back in the day. Like, even with the clip at the end of Black Knight, it wasn't necessarily a big diatribe about living life to the fullest and being free like that infamous part of issue 50. At the very least, it was a bit more to the point, I feel. Then again, I kind of feel that's a general issue with the IDW writers, in that they, for the longest time, have been trying to make Sonic something he isn't. Same could be said for a fair few characters, like Amy, and... I suppose the other main one is Amy. Tails is just sort of stuck in a holding pattern where he's supposed to be coming into his own, but he can't really come out of the sidekick role of Sonic, even though I'm pretty sure I've said before that Tails would... It would be interesting to see Tails in sort of a Nightwing role. Instead of him being the Robin to Sonic's Batman, he's the Nightwing to Sonic's Batman. where he can be a capable hero in his own right who still works alongside Sonic. Maybe have him pick up another sidekick in the meantime. You don't have to be the bad guy. You look strong, let's fight. I still definitely find it funny that, technically speaking, Goku was faster than Sonic as early as, when he was a kid back in the original Dragon Ball. But then again, I feel that's more sort of, goes into the argument as to whether combat belongs in Sonic, because I kind of feel as somebody growing up in the glory days of Newgrounds that a lot of people just assume combat should be in Sonic because of how, I suppose, Dragon Ball-esque a fair bit of Sonic stuff was. Oh yeah, now we can cheese this fight. It's gonna be the exact same as how I did it back in Sonic Freeway, just hang on to the wall. Look at that, he somehow jumped in midair. That's how good Knuckles is. Your Eggmobile can now turn into a Super Eggmobile. A Zesty Eggmobile. Which series do you think people can easily get into, Sonic and Dragon? Honestly, both. And of course, Knuckles just gets tossed off the plane. I suppose the main big question with regards to Sonic and Dragon Ball in terms of new people getting into them is, generally speaking, what the best point of entry is. So we do technically get a Knuckles rap here. I'm just sort of worried that this was gonna break out into Ram Ranch or something obscene. Because I wouldn't put it past the Siivagunner to just have one of the Mania tracks here just be Ram Ranch. And if you don't know what Ram Ranch is, good. It's not exactly something I can share on the channel. Still, that's a pretty good vocal mix if I do say so myself. See, people seem to like the Hedgehog boss for some reason. I guess they don't like the fact that it's underwater. Though honestly speaking, I never really had a problem with that particular boss. Anyways, yeah, we actually have a whole level dedicated to Knuckles. Who would have thunk it? Finally. And it's just filled with the same seesaws from Hilltop Zone. My favorite. That was nerve-wracking. Oh yeah, that felt good. Yeah, still fairly certain those things are just straight up ported from Collision Chaos. Yeah, sometimes Siivagunner definitely pulls out a legitimate banger as opposed to just a complete meme disaster. I don't want to say S-post. Not sure I can on the channel, given what my audience apparently is. Now I'm sort of imagining this with Will Smith's Wild Wild West in the background. Wiki wiki wah wah, wiki wiki wah wah. I'm probably not proficient enough to go into the lyrics, mostly because I've forgotten them. But the only real thing I know about Wild Wild West is the big mechanical spider at the end. It's like all everybody talks about with that movie. There we go. Yeah. Generally I feel that was one of the more... Weirdly enough, I think that might actually be one of my favorite levels at this point, and well, so much for the boss. And like that, we actually have a more comprehensive go through Mirage Saloon. Nice. For older people, my sister, I'd recommend OG Dragon Ball. For younger siblings or cousin, then Dragon Ball Z Kai, and then Super. Yeah, I generally just recommend people just, weirdly enough, I think my official introduction to Dragon Ball was Budokai Tenkaichi 2. Meaning I was introduced to elements from, mostly Z and GT. I personally have sort of the thought that, all you really need from Dragon Ball is just, the original and, Dragon Ball Z Kai. Because I can't help but feel, especially given the mixed quality of Super, that people are more so just gonna consider it Super in a similar light to GT, so... I suppose a decent guide to Dragon Ball would be just, original Dragon Ball, then Z, and then Daima, actually. Considering it was Toriyama's swan song, I feel it would be kind of, it wouldn't be right to completely disregard it. And hey, we technically get, Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta and Super Saiyan 4, so... It's not all... It can't be all that bad, huh? Yeah, I'll be honest with regards to the Super Saiyan 4 reveal in Daima. I do definitely prefer the GT design. Just generally feel the black hair makes it a bit more distinct. Feels like I'm going in circles. I had old tapes of OG Dragon Ball Z, so sometimes watch it. Oh yeah, actually, now that I think about it, I did watch a handful of, I do remember at the very least watching the intro to, the Ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z, and watching a couple of episodes of the Blue Water dub of, the original Dragon Ball. Like, weirdly, of all the Dragon Ball stuff I remember watching as a kid, the stuff I remember most was actually, the original Dragon Ball. I think it was the 20th Tenkaichi Budokai. It was the one where Master Roshi enters as Jackie Chun. Last gift for Akira Toriyama, and honestly, if the only stuff people consider proper Dragon Ball canon in the future is original Dragon Ball Z and Daima, I don't think I'd be too fussed about that, because at least from what I've seen of Daima, it does definitely feel like a Toriyama production. Really reminds me of Dragon Quest. So that was Mirage Saloon. I just realized I'm pretty sure all the animals in this mod are Totino rolls, pizza roll shaped. They're all so chunky. Ah, good old Oil Ocean. I remember really not liking this level back in Sonic 2. I mean, I definitely like it how it is atmospherically, just... with the music and how the level looks, I feel it's sort of it was sort of perfect back in Sonic 2, and I feel this is a definitely pretty dang good representation / realization of it. Don't think I didn't see you back there. Yeah, really getting flashbacks to Dwayne Brando here. Would be pretty crazy if they sampled that in this as well. Though I kind of doubt they did. I don't think anybody but old heads like me remember Dwayne and Brando. Mostly just remember them for the Sonic rap and the Mega Man rap. Oh, there it is. we got the reference. We actually got the callback to the Dwayne Brando rap. I wasn't actually expecting that. I feel so old. I just love how they slide down and just open mouth like that. Just most opportune moments for you to just get a mouthful of oil. There we go. I feel I just say that too often. I kind of feel I have to do a small listen to this in my own time to see if it actually is just a one-to-one with the Dwayne Brando rap. Need to go, maybe come back in 30 minutes. Alright, take care. Dying was okay. Dad gave it a chance because he saw it on Netflix and never seen Super since it was on Funimation and Crunchyroll. Ah, okay. Well, it's good to know at least that Dimer is, generally well received at the very least. Doesn't seem quite as divisive as Super. Alright, let's see how cursed things get in Act 2. Just gonna turn the volume up a little bit so I can hear. Hopefully it doesn't catch on the mic. I think this might have been one of my favorite remixes in the whole game. Just actually seeing Oil Ocean catch fire, that just felt inspired to me. Especially remember them for the Mega Man 2. Yeah, Mega Man 2 rap seems kind of iconic in a way. This is truly one of the most emblematic thing of late 2000s internet. This doesn't sound too much like Oil Ocean, to be expected. Yeah. Honestly, with a lot of these particular remixes, it almost feels like a bit of a guessing game as to what exactly it's supposed to be sampling, because obviously a lot of times it isn't just the Totino song. Oh yeah, I think here we get another special ring. It's kind of funny that you don't seem to drown in oil in this level at all. It's like you just stay bopping about in the oil all day. Not that I'd recommend it. Got better places to be. Not sure there's much for me to say at this point, aside from just going through the motions a little bit. Haven't heard that channel. Yeah. I definitely feel as though I've heard this somewhere before. Maybe I'm just imagining things. I will say that this really sort of reminds me a whole bunch of Sonic Chaos. I think I already mentioned that. Just these interior segments of the submarines, just for some reason they just remind me a lot of the Game Gear games. Well, that's Oil Ocean. I mean, I would be concerned about who's going to clean all this up, but then again, this is all in Knuckles' head at this point. None of this is real. We might be cutting it a little bit closer, actually, with how little rings I have. Never mind, it just got stuck in the boss. And somehow it's time to teleport right outside of Hidden Palace. I reckon this whole sort of flying transition is going to be quite alarming for Knuckles. And Knuckles. I think I already mentioned this. I definitely feel that's a weird little detail that they just sort of omitted over the years. Especially with that one Frontiers animation where it's like, Sky Sanctuary still exists on the Sonic Adventure 1 Angel Island, and yet Hidden Palace doesn't seem to. Like, I definitely get why the Master Emerald was where it was in Sonic Adventure, just for adventure field purposes, but you'd think, especially after that, Hidden Palace would generally be a safer place to hide it, because, I mean, sure, someone like Robotnik knows where it is, but you still have to get through all these stripes to get to it. Should take a little bit, fair bit more effort to make away with the Master Emerald than just having it out in the open. If that makes sense. Oh, that's nice. It actually says egg drill on there. I'm wondering how many times we've actually heard this particular invincibility track all throughout this adventure. Maybe it just feels like I've been hearing it an overly amount of times. Headcannon's Hidden Palace collapse after Robotnik to the Emerald. I mean, I suppose that makes sense, but me personally, after seeing IDW being practically littered with headcannons, I'm not sure how much credence I want to put in them at this point. Hopefully you understand, because I'd rather see some actual concrete lore rather than just having plot discrepancies just hand-waved away with headcanons, if that makes sense. I want something a little bit more concrete. I can only imagine how many carbs you must burn off traveling this fast over solid ground. Especially in this sweltering heat. That was close. Oh, this should be fun. Yeah, this is more just straight up Totinos, I think. A little kind of annoying that you have to turn around in order to go down on these. Just a little bit. And here I am just bullying the other Knuckles. I will admit I definitely prefer doing more of the story-based Sonic games, just so I have an opportunity to do the funny voices. Oh. Okay then. That was a little bit embarrassing. But yeah, basically just straight up turned into Hilltop for a second there. Let's try that again. Ah, heck. Yeah, I could just ride the lava up top here. I don't think I've actually seen this particular part of this level yet. This is like a whole new experience for me. Oh no. Sort of panic state at this point. Okay, I was gonna say we've gone past the worst of it. I've never actually seen that before on this level. My favorite enemies. The ones that kill you with lung cancer. I think at the very least we're coming up to the end now. This level feels weirdly long compared to normal. I mean, considering it's a Knuckles level. Oh. Didn't ever realize that was there before. I suppose that's one of the miracles about replaying all these old games, is that the prospect of finding something new. It feels as though I already went over most of my commentary in the first part, please forgive me. I will say though, going through here with Knuckles is admittedly a fair bit more fun, given you can just punch through everything. I think I can get by just being stuck in the boss here. I guess not. Well, that worked. And of course the lava all magically cools. Where did the other Knuckles go? He just magically disappeared. Was he in Knuckles' head? Who knows? Anyways, here we are back in Quartz Quadrant. I still think that Lava Reef Zone Act 2 is one of my favorite looking stages in the classic games. It just looks so distinct, and I love all the distinct shades of blue. And the music especially, just generally to me feels and looks straight up beautiful. Though I don't remember if that green was there in the original. At least the original game on those particular platforms. Again, it has been a while since I played Sonic 3. Just going so hard on the guitar here. Kinda love it. I got you up here. Now we get the proper Knuckles challenges. This really feels like something out of Sonic and Knuckles right here with all these climbing challenges through spikes. Sort of feels like I'm back home in a way. And then again, I'm not sure whether these actually are the same sort of challenges that you'd get in Sonic and Knuckles. Wouldn't be surprised if that were the case. How much has changed for the door? Oh yeah. Even in the original, I really loved the music for this particular piece. Just the guitars really helped this sort of resonate all that much harder for me. There's only so many times where I can say it's a thing of beauty. Let's try up here. I'm curious as to what's up here. Obviously, super form kind of trivializes a lot of the challenges. I think we're coming up to the end here a little bit. Yep, there's Little Planet inexplicably. It's just here now. Yeah, we're supposed to go through here and just go for this long, long glide. I remember this now. It's how the game dictates which boss you fight. As we just get sent into the very depths of Lava Reef. There we go. Dagnammit. I thought it was supposed to go down when it was meant to go up. You tricked me, game. You tricked me again by making me go down here. Well, I don't have my super form anymore, meaning it's gonna be all that much more difficult. And we get to hear Knuckles just constantly getting mad at the mixer to try and get... because he wants them to start the music right. Can't say I blame him. I do definitely wish I remembered to actually equip the speed-up music here as opposed to just having to listen to the regular music sped up, because just for completion's sake, if anything. Okay, I guess I'm supposed to go up. Yeah, that looks more like it. As I'm getting flames vomited on me. It looks like I need to find a switch. Guessing I have to go all the way up in order to... Yep, there we go. Now this is starting to look a little bit more like Hidden Palace. Oh yeah. Now we're back with all this scaffolding. That doesn't look right. It's pretty, but it's not right. And there's the Super Emeralds, except apparently they're not canonical anymore. You be the judge. He's actually remembering how the last time he fought, tried to get the Master Emerald back worked. Alright, if you can be super, then so can I. It's a proper super fight. And yeah, weirdly enough, you only fight Heavy King. I tell a lie, you technically fight Heavy King in Egg Reverie, so... I guess, technically speaking, Sonic does fight all the hard-boiled heavies, but... It is kind of cool that Knuckles gets his own boss. I can only hope that I manage to beat him in time before my... Oh, there we go. So much for your scepter. Get out of here, you grabby hand. No touching my emerald. It feels so good to be back here. I have so many fond memories of Hidden Palace. And there's the teleporters again, just taking us straight into Metallic Madness. It is definitely kind of surreal seeing Knuckles here. In a level that feels distinctly for Sonic. Because while I have definitely played this version of Metallic Madness more often than the previous one in CD, it feels just very distinctly like a CD level with how it's laid out. It just feels so weird compared to all the others. With all these odd angles and the weird badniks, it just feels weird. In a good way. And I'm gonna say it, honestly, I think I prefer this to Scrap Brain. I know that might be a bold claim, but I'm not exactly the fondest fellow of Scrap Brain and his bottomless pits. I'm not entirely certain what this song is supposed to be saying. I'm not sure I want to know. Start the music right. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. I remember that about this particular version of the song at the very least. It's just the random Ghostbusters quip. Or should I say busting clip? Because yes, I do remember Busted. The version of Ghostbusters with no Ghostbusters in it. Knuckles Chaotix should get a remake. At the very least, I'd been pining for Knuckles Chaotix to get a remake just for completion's sake, because of course, like many a Sonic fan, I've never played Knuckles Chaotix. I mean, obviously there's ways to facilitate amending that, but it's like I would have liked for there to be an official release of Knuckles Chaotix, just to go alongside the likes of CD. Oh. It's like, yeah, if we're going out with regards to certain Genesis Mega Drive peripherals being commercial failures, then if Sonic CD got a re-release, then why not Chaotix? It only really seems fair. At least that's been my thought for the longest time, but I've sort of accepted at this point that we're probably never gonna get an official Knuckles Chaotix re-release. I'd love to be proven wrong, but if it hasn't happened by now, I doubt it's ever gonna happen. There we go, that wasn't so bad. If someone is wanting to get into Sonic, which game would you recommend them play first? Honestly, I'd more likely to just say to them, just pick a game that came out before 2012 and then just play what takes your fancy. Because I feel there's no major particular right or wrong game that you can start off with regards to Sonic. Again, as long as you're going with games released prior to 2012. Like Genesis, it's like Generations is good, Colors is good, the adventure games, meh. Well, more specifically Adventure 2. The Classic Trilogy. It's like, you got a whole bunch of options, and depending on your preferences, you can start really any way you like, I feel. Though I know a lot of people would kind of recommend Generations, given it's sort of the most modern and slash highest bar the series has had. That's given the fact that Generations is a celebration of Sonic's history, I'm not entirely certain as to whether that'll be a good starting point, so maybe Colors Adventure 2, or the Classic Trilogy, depending on your preference. It seems fairly apt. I mean, I say that, but then again, all of those have had recent ports which have just generally been objectively inferior to the original releases, so it kind of feels like a damned if you do, damned if you don't when it comes to introducing new people to the series. But then again, I suppose that goes to show how much strides I've made with regards to my thoughts on the series, because if you'd asked me that this time last year, my answer to the question as to how I would introduce someone new to the Sonic franchise would be to say, don't. With how the community is, and the mixed quality of the games, and generally speaking, the obnoxious social media presence, I generally say that that wasn't really that much worth getting invested in with regards to this series, but oh, I went the wrong way. Well, I meant this particular sprite of this particular chibi sprite of Knuckles is pretty cute. It's kind of weird that even now this game is going on longer than I anticipated. I'm hoping at the very least that when we get back to Chronicles, I can get in more of the time that I had expected with this, that being 1.5 hours. Because generally speaking, these Mania streams have been going on longer than I anticipated. That being said, we're very much near the end now, so it's not a big deal. Let's say 1.5 hours, more like 2 hours. Imagine if Sonic Heroes got a remake? I'm more so imagining Sonic Heroes with writing by Ian Flynn, and I can only imagine that's going to end up being fairly divisive, at best.
Totinos, Totinos, how
Rush Adventure was your introduction to the Sonic series. That's definitely an interesting one. Considering how divorced a fair bit of it seems from the core of the series with the boats. Look at that, neither of them is scared of lightning. Just staring up into the eyes of this behemoth all stoic-like. Anybody seen Powerpuff Girls before? Hoping not the only one who somehow liked... Yeah, I have a lot of fond memories for the original series back when I watched it on Cartoon Network in the early 2000s. Times which I sorely miss. Oh yeah, now we actually get another one of the proper banger songs for this part of the game. An actual vocal mix, which sounds genuinely good despite the inclusion of Totinos. This whole experience never ceases to surprise, even if it is just mostly indistinguishable from the original experience. I'm kind of curious to see what a cursed Sonic Mania would look like. Even if morbidly so. Like, combine that with the Totinos Mania... this Totinos Mania mod, and we'd be in for... probably one of the most nightmarish Sonic experiences outside of creepypastas. Time for us to go. This Powerpuff... Yep, I remember. That's the Powerpuff Girls web horn. I'm not entirely certain as to whether anyone also remembers the anime adaptation back in the late 2000s. Because I only vaguely remember it. Just the fact that apparently you can turn Chemical X into Chemical Z just by adding a pork bun to the mix. Oh, I didn't realize one of those was there. Feels as though I just stumbled upon an entire treasure trove of goodies here. Okay, we're coming up to the end now. Just this, and then Titanic Monarch, and then that'll be it. It really is kind of a shame that a fair few of these old Cartoon Network countries are probably going to be lost to the lost to the depths of history, because I remember especially having a lot of fond memories of Ed, Edd and Eddy, and wishing that I got to see more stuff like Johnny Bravo. I'm trying to remember whether Cubix was also on Cartoon Network, because I remember Cubix as well. I say that because, Red Eye up here also looks, about as uncanny as most of the characters in Cubix. Anyone remember the Lilo and Stitch yet? I've definitely heard about it. Can you please come to the floor? There we go. One level left. And then I can put this nightmare to rest. bit conflicted on it due to retconning things. Yeah, I also heard that was a particular issue with anime. Admittedly, I'm not the most caught up to date with the Lilo and Stitch lore, so I just remember something about them having to do a Pokemon and catch all the other 625 experiments at some point. I think that was to do with the show, at least as far as I remember. They would turn anything into an anime like Suicide Squad and Rick and Morty. Yeah, that definitely seemed quite a bizarre choice to me, just doing a Suicide Squad isekai anime with music by Calliope Mori. This is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Also, where am I going? Okay, over here. Additionally, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if they actually did do a Rick and Morty anime, because it definitely seems like something they would do. Even if just to claw back some relevance. And of course, at the end we got some Fleetstones. It wouldn't be a Siivagunner mod without some Fleetstones. Callie did an opening for one. Yeah, I heard about that. It's just generally quite a surreal time. You got Casey Lee Williams doing songs for Sonic. You got Calliope Mori doing songs for DC and potentially One Piece. Just all these weird merging of things that I never would have anticipated. I suppose this must be how Fortnite players feel on a regular basis. Of course, I'm gonna go for the last of the giant rings in the game. Quite an apt place to put it as well. That feels like it was a crushing hazard in a way. Do I play Fortnite? I have never so much as downloaded it. Generally, the whole culture around Fortnite has generally been one I've associated with obnoxiousness. Just all sorts of videos of kids getting up in classrooms and flossing, just... It generally seemed like the sort of thing that I just find insufferable after a fair bit. I'm sure that's, it's good. It would have to be good to garner as much attention as it has, but I was never really inclined to partake. Oh, okay. I kind of forgot that the lightning shield did that. Again, just another one of those quirky environmental interactions with the elemental shields. I very nearly died there. I think this might technically be the hardest of the Titanic Monarch Gauntlet now when I'm thinking about it. In his bountiful person. Yes. That's one way of putting it. I'm admittedly a little bit nervous about traversing here because I'm worried about crushing hazards. Oh, this one. You gotta be the most precise. In your own time, game. There we go. Again, I say it again. If there's possibly in lots of time, her faith will be around due to certain... Well, I mean, sure. I'm certain they will be, just... I just kind of wish it didn't have to come to that. Alright, it's go time, Robotnik. Deceiver! Stealer of master, stealer of emeralds. I could just stand here. I feel as though I gotta go back and listen to a fair bit of this soundtrack in my own time, because I'm certain there are some legitimate bangers in here. How many Totinos did you eat? None. I already told you I'm on a low-carb diet. I cannot partake in the Totino. This is like me finally confronting a demon and finally putting this nightmare to rest. After this, I never have to worry about Totinos ever again, Robotnik. You've led me to this. Totino delusions, Totino illusions. Whoop. Wait, what? I wasn't anticipating this. I could have sworn that it would just end... I didn't... I think this may just be due to mods, shenanigans, but I wasn't anticipating this. No matter. I'll just have to fight you and defeat you again. Hopefully I beat you on the first time this time. Now that I know your tricks. Gotcha. The ultimate life form wave is coming. It's gonna be interesting to see if they actually do sample fist bump here. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Okay, I don't think there's any fist bump, unfortunately. Still nervous about how this is gonna go, because I remember last time not ending particularly well. Yeah, this is gonna get dangerous real quick. Come on, pizza rolls to me. Share your pizza rolls with me. Imagine if that was how the spirit bomb was powered. Please, everyone on Earth, give me some of your pizza rolls. Come on. Alright, this is going at least a little bit more smoothly than last time did. Doing pretty decently for rings. How many hits can you all take? Sounds like something Goku would ask for. He would ask for all the pizza roll. He would... I mean, obviously you'd have to be polite about asking people for pizza rolls. You couldn't just demand all of them. You'd have to be courteous about it. Alright, in we go. Now Knuckles will take over the role as the one character nobody wanted in Sonic Forces. And that's how I saved the universe. Just love how Sonic and Tails just there in the background, like... What the heck is Knuckles talking about? We did all the work. I don't know, Sonic, just let him have his fun. And we've already seen the credits, so we can just skip over these. So, yeah. That's Knuckles and Knuckles mode. What can I really say but, Knuckles. So that's gonna be all from me for tonight. Next time we dive straight into something that I've been looking forward to a surprising amount. Sonic Chronicles. Let's see if it's truly as bad as everybody says and / I remember. But until then, completely accurate story fact checked by Master and Guardian. Well, until then, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time again for Sonic Chronicles. Take care. Bye-bye.